herzlich willkommen bei whisky.de, dem Treffpunkt feiner Geister. Und heute bin ich mal im wunderschönen Irland. Und ja, wenn man über Irland denkt, denkt man eigentlich immer so an Kühe, Schafe. Aber in Irland wird auch viel, viel mehr angebaut als irgendwie nur Milch und Wolle, sondern wir haben hier zum Beispiel ein Gerstenfeld. Das ist eine Wintergerste, die ist letzten November angesät worden und hat schon eine gewisse Höhe. Aber sie ist nicht für die Whisky-Produktion, sondern ich schätze mal, die geht irgendwo Richtung Bier oder was anderes. Wir werden uns heute mit der Tinnashrule Farm beschäftigen, denn sie ist eine der Farmen, eine der Bauernhöfe, die eben die Gerste an die Waterford Brennerei liefert, und die haben ein tolles Konzept und die schauen wirklich wahnsinnig auf ihre Zutaten, und wir gucken denen mal so ein bisschen über die Schulter, was die mit ihren Zutaten vorhaben, was da so die Regeln sind, wie das Ganze abläuft. Und jetzt gehen wir einmal ein Feld weiter, denn dort wird nämlich die Gerste angebaut, die dann später im Waterford Whisky landet. Das hier ist jetzt eines der Felder, das wirklich für die Whisky-Produktion gedacht ist. Es ist eine normale Sommergerste und sie wurde vor einiger Zeit oder ein paar Wochen gesät, und sie ist noch relativ klein, aber sie wird dann irgendwann im Herbst geerntet. Und hier spricht man von einer Farm. Die Tinnashrule Farm hat sehr magere Wiesen. Es gibt so gewisse Regeln, wenn man sagt, okay, Gerste ist eher bei mageren Wiesen wird die angebaut, und wir haben Weizen und anderes Getreide, was eher fetteren Boden mag. Das ist so, wie viel Mineralstoffe im Boden drin sind. Und hier, diese Farm ist eher auf einem Hügel und nicht in einem Tal, deswegen haben die eher magere Wiesen. Perfekt für die Produktion von Whisky. Die ganze Farm hat 70 Hektar Land, auf dem sie ihre Sachen anpflanzen. 15 davon sind so, dass man sagen kann, das ist richtig gut für den Waterford Whisky, und daraus werden dann ungefähr 110 Tonnen Gerste, ungemälzte Gerste, produziert, und die wird dann irgendwann zu Waterford Whisky. Ob hier Waterford Whisky entsteht, wissen wir noch nicht genau. Es ist wirklich so, dass es wächst. Am Ende misst man dann auch noch wirklich die Gerste, was rausgekommen ist, ob die Qualitätskriterien, die man messen kann, Feuchtigkeit und gewisse Gehalte an irgendwie Stickstoff und solchen Geschichten, ob die gut sind. Wenn die gut sind, dann wird es zu Waterford Whisky. Wenn nicht, dann geht es halt irgendwo anders hin, wo die Kriterien nicht ganz so hoch gesteckt sind. Interessant hier auf der Farm ist auch noch, sie haben sehr, sehr viele nachhaltige Projekte, wo man hier hat man unten so ein kleines Testfeld, wo man ein bisschen schaut, was ist jetzt besser für einen Boden, wenn man pflügt, wenn man nur grubbt, wenn man eigentlich den Boden gar nicht präpariert, wenn man eine Gründüngung anpflanzt oder nicht. Und da schaut man so ein bisschen danach, was ist langfristig sinnvoll. Und das ist wirklich schön, weil wir wissen dann, es wird auch noch in Zukunft immer noch sehr gute Gerste hier angebaut, der dann irgendwann zu Whisky wird. Und wir schauen jetzt mal weiter, was mit der Gerste dann passiert. Hinter mir ist was Tolles, und zwar die Provenance Map. Und die Provenance Map zeigt alle Bauernhöfe, die hier Malz geliefert haben. Was man da drunter sieht auf der Karte, das ist ein Südostteil von Irland, sind Schattierungen. Und diese Schattierungen zeigen die verschiedenen Arten der Erde, die es dort gibt, die verschiedenen Arten des Terrain. Und das bedeutet, die verschiedenen Arten von Erde beeinflussen natürlich das Malz. Und hier sieht man, was für Arten es gibt. Und man kann so sagen, okay, diese Region ist ähnlich zu dieser Region. Natürlich sind alle Regionen noch ein bisschen anders, aber man kann so ein bisschen kategorisieren, was ein magerer Boden ist, was ein fetter Boden ist und steinig und wie tief. Und da gibt es ganz viele verschiedene Sachen, nach denen man das ordnen kann. Die Farmen sind auch noch nach Farben geordnet. Und zwar die blauen sind ganz normale Bauernhöfe. Die dunkelblauen sind Bio-Bauernhöfe, also Organic auf Englisch. Die hellgrünen sind biodynamisch, also Biodynamic. Und die lilanen, das sind Heritage. Heritage sind so sehr, sehr alte Sorten, die man halt noch irgendwie Ende des 19. Jahrhunderts verwendet hat. Das Getreide, das in den einzelnen Bauernhöfen gesammelt wird, wird hier in die Kathedrale geliefert. Sie nennen die Cathedral. Warum heißt sie Kathedrale? sie hat ein Echo und sie ist dann ebenso lang, also ein langes Schiff wie eben eine Kathedrale. Sie hat, ja, 28 Behältnisse, wo dann die verschiedenen Ernten von verschiedenen Farmen eingelagert werden. Hinter mir haben wir zum Beispiel Seamus Duggan. Das ist der Farmer von Lakefield. Und wenn Sie jetzt gerade noch in den Shop reinschauen, werden Sie wahrscheinlich noch den Lakefield 1.1 finden. Ja, der kam dann eben von Seamus Duggan, diesem Bauernhof. Das, was wir hinter uns sehen, das wird wahrscheinlich dann der Lakefield 5.1 oder auch vielleicht Lakefield 5.2 werden. Man weiß ja nicht, wie viele Flaschen dort rauskommen werden. Vielleicht ist es ja auch mehr. Insgesamt sind in der Kathedrale 28 solche Abteile. Jetzt haben sie nur über die Jahre schon gemerkt, okay, wir können die Produktion ein Stückchen erhöhen, haben alles gut hingekriegt und jetzt haben sie noch eine kleine Kapelle daneben gebaut. Jetzt können sie pro Jahr ungefähr Ernten von 35 Bauernhöfen einlagern. Was sehr schön ist, weil das ist ungefähr eine Jahresproduktion. Aber sie nehmen nicht immer von den gleichen Bauernhöfen, sie wechseln sehr viel durch. 6 von ihnen sind so ein bisschen zum Kern geworden. Hier, Seamus ist auch wahrscheinlich im Kern drin. Aber insgesamt hatten sie schon von 107 verschiedenen Bauernhöfen das Getreide. Und mittlerweile sind sie auch bei einem Drittel entweder Bio-Organic, wie sie es hier nennen, dann Biodynamic, also das Biodynamische, das etwas neuere, noch nachhaltigere oder eben alte Sorten. Also ein Drittel davon sind schon eben diese sehr nachhaltigen Geschichten, die sie machen, und sie experimentieren da auch und reden mit Samenbänken und echt tolle Geschichte. Ja, was auch noch super ist, wenn es irgendwann mal einen Mangel an Getreide gibt, Waterford ist eigentlich für ihre Jahresproduktion schon ausgestattet. Jeder Batch aus der Kathedrale wird dann zur Mälzerei gefahren. Die Mälzerei ist eine Testfacility oder eine kleinere Fabrik einer Großmälzerei, und die sind genau auf 100 Tonnen ungemälzte Gerste ausgelegt. Da kommen ungefähr 75 Tonnen gemälzte Gerste raus, also Malz. Und genau auf das hat man die Brauerei oder die Brennerei ausgelegt. Sie sind darauf ausgelegt, dass sie 75 Tonnen Malz annehmen, und dann hat man hier so 3 Tanks, in die man dann diese jeweils 75 Tonnen lagert. Also man kann 3 Farmen, 3 Bauernhöfe hier lagern, also die Produkte aus 3 Bauernhöfen. Und dann fängt man an, das Ganze zu verarbeiten. Auch die Brennerei selbst ist dann auf diese 75 Tonnen ausgelegt. Zweite Zutat, die man natürlich für einen Whisky braucht, ist gutes Wasser. Waterford hat gutes Wasser. Am Ende der Brennerei gibt es 3 Brunnen, und da wird das Wasser rausgepumpt. Und das Wasser ist so gut, dass man es nicht filtern muss und direkt in der Brennerei verwenden kann. Und jetzt schauen wir uns mal an, was man aus diesem Wasser und dem Malz als erstes macht. Die 75 Tonnen werden in 8 Maischvorgänge aufgeteilt. Und das Interessante ist natürlich, weil wir diesen Single-Farm-Prozess haben, also von verschiedenen Bauernhöfen das Getreide haben, ist das Problem, dass die Getreide auch verschiedene Größen haben. Natürlich gibt es auch noch verschiedene Getreidesorten und solche Geschichten. Und das ist ein großes Problem für den Maischvorgang. Also der Maischvorgang bei Waterford ist sehr kompliziert und muss sehr stark kontrolliert werden. Links von mir ist die Mühle, und da ist genau das, worauf es ankommt. Die Mühle ist der Punkt, an dem eingestellt werden muss, wie groß muss der Mühlspalt sein, der das Getreide schrotet. Interessant ist auch, wir haben hier keine Rollenmühle, wir haben hier auch keine Hammermühle, sondern wir haben hier eine Scheibenmühle. Scheibenmühle ist eigentlich sogar traditioneller als Rollen- oder Hammermühlen, denn es ist so, wie man sich damals mit einem Mühlstein das Mahlen des Getreides vorstellt. In der Mitte kommt das Getreide rein und wird dann nach außen durch den Spalt zerbrochen, abgeschert und geht dann weiter. Ist aber eine besondere Art von Mühle, eine Scheibenmühle, denn es ist eine Hydromill, steht hier drauf, also eine wässrige Mühle. Es ist also keine trockene Mühle, sondern eine flüssige Mühle. Und das Problem ist, man kann beim Mahlen nicht nachher direkt, weil es flüssig ist, direkt schauen, okay, was für Konsistenz habe ich, male ich gerade zu grob, male ich gerade zu fein, was ist bei mir unterwegs. Denn ja, man hat so einen Brei und den kann man nicht so sauber analysieren. Das heißt, die Brauer hier, also die Distiller, die Brauer sind vor den Distiller, die müssen wirklich darauf schauen, okay, ich male es, ich schätze es ab, ich habe so ein paar Messwerte, ich schätze ab, was ich für einen Spalt nehmen muss, dann wird das Ganze eingemeischt. Also ca. 9 Tonnen, ein bisschen mehr als 9 Tonnen werden hier eingemeischt. Das Ganze wird dann auf verschiedenen Temperaturen angehoben und erst nach der Filterung kann man die verschiedenen Messwerte nehmen und sieht dann, oh, war ich jetzt gut, war mein Spalt zu klein, war mein Spalt zu groß. Und nach jedem Brauvorgang wird dann diese Mühle neu eingestellt, außer man hat natürlich die perfekten Werte. Und was sie auch hier bei Waterford natürlich machen ist, bei den Farmen, die sie schon mal hatten, bei den Bauernhöfen, die sie schon mal hatten, schreiben sie natürlich alles auf, was sie schon eingestellt haben. Also die Farmen, die Bauernhöfe, von denen schon öfter was rausgekommen ist, bei denen ist es leichter einzustellen und da haben sie größere Ausstöße, ja, mehr Effizienz. Ja, nachdem das Wasser dann das Ganze eingemeischt ist, das gibt es in mehreren Vorgängen mit höherer Temperaturen, das ist eigentlich ganz normal, wie man es auch vom Whisky kennt, geht es weiter ins Filtern des Mashes. Mit der Scheibenmühle ist es natürlich so, dass wir keinen groben Schrot haben. Ein grober Schrot normalerweise in der Mashtun bildet so eine Art Kuchen und so eine Art grobes Gerüst, wo einfach alles durchsickert und dann unten aufgefangen werden kann. Wenn man so fein sein Mash macht, dann würde dieser Filter einfach verstopfen und man hat eine schöne wasserundurchlässige Fläche und alles würde nicht funktionieren. Es würde nicht weitergehen. Ja, was man braucht ist, man braucht ein extrem großes Sieb, das durch an allen Seiten genügend durchfließen kann. Also hat man hier diese Filter alle nebeneinander. Was dann passiert ist, durch dieses Loch hier wird das Mash durchgepumpt und durch diese Öffnungen wird es dann auf die Filter innen drin verteilt. Und diese Filter saugen sich dann voll, werden voll mit Mash. Was dann passiert ist, wenn alles befüllt ist, dann macht man Luftdruck hier rein mit diesen Schläuchen und die drücken dann das Mash zusammen und drücken den letzten Rest an Flüssigkeit aus diesem Kuchen raus. Und die Flüssigkeit wird unten gesammelt und mit einem Rohr weiter transportiert in die Fermentation. Wenn wir dann fertig sind, dann öffnet sich der ganze Filter, alles dampft hier drin, wahnsinnig. Und der ganze Feststoffe fallen alle runter in den Trichter, die dann mit einer Schneckenförderer raus in den Traktor gefördert werden. Und das geht dann zu den irischen Kühen und das wird dann andere Produkte. Wir folgen natürlich dem süßlichen Brei, der dann weitergeht und zu Whisky wird. Jetzt kommen wir mal zur Fermentation. Dieses Gebäude und das Equipment wurde von Guinness gekauft, also dem Bier. Das ist also im Grunde eigentlich Bier-Equipment, aber das ist auch perfekt für Whisky. Und das Sache ist, wir haben hier extrem große Fermentationskessel. Und was die Waterford Brennerei haben will, ist ein richtig gut durchfermentiertes Wash. Also haben sie sich gesagt, okay, wir wollen es richtig durchfermentiert haben. Wir machen mindestens 120 Stunden. Und sie haben die Fermentationskessel mit 100.000 Litern Kapazität. Sie befüllen sie nicht mit 100.000, sondern sie befüllen sie nur mit ungefähr 80.000 Litern, damit oben noch ein bisschen Platz ist für Schaum und so weiter. Die Sache ist nur, wenn man dann sagt, okay, 120 Stunden, das sind genau 5 Tage dann. Wenn man dann anfängt, oben aus dem Fermentationsbehälter rauszunehmen und anfängt zu brennen, dann braucht man eine gewisse Zeit lang, bis man diesen 100.000 oder 80.000 Liter Behälter geleert hat. Und bis man unten angekommen ist, hat das unterste natürlich weiter fermentiert und ist dann schon bei 170 Stunden. Also wir haben hier eine Fermentationsdauer zwischen 120 und 170 Stunden. Fragt man sich natürlich, wie schmeckt es dann? Ja, sehr, sehr schön fruchtig, sehr, sehr schön floral. Und das ist das, was Sie haben wollen. Sie benutzen immer die gleiche Hefe, Sie benutzen auch einen Wassermantel, also schön gekühlt, dass so immer die gleichen Geschmäcker produziert werden. Und man schaut wirklich, dass man sagt, okay, wir konzentrieren uns wirklich auf das Malz, was von den Bauernhöfen kommt, und macht hier keine Experimente irgendwo beim Fermentieren, sondern sagt, wir machen alles sauber, sehr schön durchfermentiert, sauber Temperatur kontrolliert, und alles geht dann weiter in die Destillation. Das Herzstück der Brennerei, die Stills. Die Brennerei hat gerade neue Stills bekommen, gerade letzten Juli, das war dann im Jahr 2021. Und sie hatten vorher, sie sind ja noch nicht so lange offen, aber vorher hatten sie gebrauchte Stills. Denn ja, der Still Market ist schlimm und man hat irgendwo Wartezeiten von mehr als 3 Jahren. Und so hatten sie gesucht und gesucht bei Waterford, und sie hatten Stills von 1968 gefunden, von Indem. Und diese Stills sind bei Bruichladdich zwischengelagert, und es waren sogar die Stills, die man vor der Brennerei stehen hat sehen. Die andere war hinten im Lager, und die haben sie aufgekauft, wieder aufgearbeitet und haben dann hier schön ihre Brennblasen gehabt und haben dort mit denen ein paar Jahre gebrannt. Und jetzt haben sie, weil die anderen schon ziemlich durch waren, haben sie neue Stills bekommen. Was man bei ihnen sieht ist, es sind Stills, keine irgendwelche Reflux Bowls oder sowas, sondern ziemlich gerade Stills. Und was man deswegen macht ist, man lässt die Stills ein gutes Stückchen langsamer laufen. Denn wenn man sie schneller laufen lässt, alles steigt sofort hoch, Dampfdruck geht hoch, wird sofort in den Kondensator gemacht. Das passiert hier nicht, sondern es köchelt etwas langsamer, der Dampf steigt langsamer auf. Es gibt mehr Kupferkontakt, weil man mehr Zeit hat, mehr Separation des Alkohols, eine feinere Destillation. Also indem man diese ganzen Sachen weglässt an den Stills, muss man die Geschwindigkeit runternehmen. Ist natürlich ein bisschen schlecht für den Output, kriegt man ein bisschen langsamer den Whisky raus, aber das müssen sie machen, damit sie diesen schönen Stil rauskriegen und nicht irgendwelche große Würzigkeiten drin haben, sodass man eben schön die Malzigkeit, das Getreide rausschmeckt aus dem Whisky. Die erste Brennblase, die Wash Still, hat 19.000 Liter Volumen. Sie wird mit 17.000 Litern befüllt. Nach dem ersten Brennvorgang, der ein bisschen schneller ist, kann man natürlich an der Verfärbung des Kondensators erkennen. Geht es dann in die Spirit Still. Die hat 11.000 Liter Volumen, wird mit ungefähr 9.000 befüllt. Hier sieht man, der ist fast gar nicht verfärbt. Die fahren sie extrem langsam, denn die Geschmäcke werden sehr, sehr stark über den Feinbrand, also die Spirit Still, definiert. Und hier sieht man dann den Spirit Safe. Es wird gemessen über Computer, aber die Cuts werden immer noch manuell gemacht. Zurzeit sind wir bei Ross und Amy Jackson. Das sind die Bauer, die dieses Getreide hergestellt haben. Es ist sogar ein Organic, also ein Bio Rohbrand. Und ich habe hier so ein bisschen was im Glas. Wobei man bei Rohbrand sagen muss, das hier ist jetzt nicht ein Rohbrand, wie er so ins Fass abgefüllt wird, sondern das ist ein bestimmter Punkt in der Destillation. Was ich hier rieche, muss nicht unbedingt ins Fass gefüllt werden, weil es nur ein Punkt, ein Temperaturpunkt ist, bei dem gerade der Alkohol verdampft. Aber man riecht schon sehr, 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 sehr fein, sehr, sehr leicht. Also wir sind noch relativ weit oben. Man fängt oben bei den Alkoholzahlen an und arbeitet sich dann langsam runter, bis es zu schwer und zu würzig wird und zu fuselölig wird. Und dann macht man es in den Abfalltank bzw. in den Recyclingtank. Sehr, sehr alkoholisch. Aber boah, wahnsinnig fruchtig und schön malzig. Richtig schön malzig. Ja, wenn es dann hier fertig ist, geht es dann weiter ins Lagerhaus. Ja, das war's mit der Produktion. Wir konnten leider nicht in die Warehouses gehen und jetzt geht's weiter, aber mit einem kleinen englischen Interview, wo wir ein bisschen auf die Warehouses eingehen werden. So we've unfortunately been unable to get into the warehouses, but here I'm sitting with Ned Gann. You're the master distiller and you've been 7 years here at the distillery and you've been 15 years in the brewing industry. So a lot of experience. So you've been like 22 years here on site.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so...
Thank you very much for having us
No
here.
problem, delighted to have you here as well. Yeah, so I worked for Diageo or Guinness for 15 years and then here with 7 years, yeah.
So how's the transition? Did you like it?
Yeah, no, it's been great setting up the distillery and getting involved in it. So this is actually my first whiskey job, but yeah, so every day is a learning day, but yeah, no, we're going very well, yeah.
Nice, nice. So how many warehouses do you have? How are the warehouses? How is that cask business and everything?
Yeah, so at the moment we have 6 full warehouses and 3 more that are built and ready to be filled. So at the moment we'd have about 40,000 casks filled, and I suppose we're a little bit different in that we use a combination of casks per farm. So we use American ex-bourbon casks, American virgin casks, French wine casks, and what we call the VDN or Vin de Natural casks, sweet fortified wines. So each farm is filled into a percentage of those. So 50% into American fortified, 20% American virgin, 15% into French wine, and 15% into European oak, but is VDN.
Do you keep it the same for all?
Yeah, not exactly the same. There might be a couple of casks in the difference, but the main reason we're doing that is because we're a natural whiskey, so we're not using any colorings, so we don't use that E150.
Okay.
So we're getting colour from the cask, and also caramel will give you sweetness.
Yes.
But we don't use that, so we're using, say, the VDN cask to give us some sweetness as well.
So you're really going in just for the natural product?
Natural product, yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I've actually been this morning at the Tinnashrule Farm with John, and now we have the first product from him.
Yeah.
Can you give me the bottle?
Yeah. So this is John's farm, single farm, Tinnashrule in County Wexford, and a lovely spot. And John's a gentleman as well.
Oh yeah, he's lovely.
Yeah. So
oh wait, the stopper doesn't have a meaning.
Yes. So I suppose we have what we call Vinlock stoppers and our glass stopper, and they keep the whiskey very clean. It's a very clean stopper. And
okay, we always especially for our customers, have a way of explaining how to open a whiskey bottle. This does not apply here because usually you have to twist because of the cork. Here you just topple it.
Yeah, push it with our thumb. Yeah, and
then
it pops.
it's easy to open.
It's easy to open. Yeah, when I got it first, I was...
Never do that with a cork.
I was trying to go like that, and it's quite hard to do it like that.
Yes.
But it pops up nicely. And actually, the other thing is, the blue bottle is because we don't want you to see the colour of the whiskey. Because if you look at the colour of this whiskey, it's a natural colour, and if you saw that maybe in a pub or something, you might say,
a bit too light for me.
Yeah, a bit too light for me. So the colour is to disguise the colour of the whiskey. You shouldn't be buying it on the colour of the whiskey.
Like in a blind tasting, same glass as in a blind tasting with the blue glasses.
Yeah.
I like it.
So yeah, it also is a nice looking bottle, but that's one of the reasons that we have
nice.
blue glass. So yeah, so the warehouses, we have 6 at the moment, holding about 40,000 casks, and another 3 ready to come online. So it's a big
That's
operation.
a lot of whiskey for. You're running 24/7 here, right?
24/7, 10 months of the year. So we stop for a month in the summer and at Christmas. Yeah. So it's a lot of whiskey. Yeah.
You're not distilling fast, but you're distilling low.
No, yeah, low and slow. It's about quality, not quantity. Yeah.
Okay. So.
So all our whiskies are unchilled filtered, and they're all 50% ABV. So they're a little bit stronger than the norm.
50%.
50%, yeah. And usually what I do is I just look at the legs and the glass and the oils, and we have really good oils.
A little bit of a ready touch to it.
Yeah, there is a little bit of what I would call a peachy hue, and that's probably coming from the casks as well, that we're using some of those wine casks and some of those VDN casks as well. So on the nose, I would say our whiskey is a bit like myself, light and elegant. But what we're looking for is that barley forward nose. Like, you know, it's a single malt. It should have barley of some note. It should be either bread crust or dough or...
Yeah, I've seen that within the new make as well.
Yeah.
It is fruity, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
But it has a malty touch to it, a little bit of a... I could say also that I could feel like a creamy touch to it.
Yeah. So it's a bit like a malted biscuit. Maybe with a little bit of sometimes we put butter on our biscuits.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, so it reminds me a little bit of that, but it also has a nice red apple note to it.
Yeah, it has a fresh fruity note to it. Definitely. Yeah,
and it just reminds me. Yeah, it just reminds me of a good red apple, a gala apple, or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's not one of these totally red apples, but one of the one of these that are just fresh and nice in between a Granny Smith and one of these very reds. The one in the middle there.
Yeah.
No, I like it.
Yeah. Sláinte.
Sláinte. Transports a lot.
Yeah. So what we're doing with single farms is we're trying to promote the farm, the barley, the flavour. So this is a snapshot of John Crowley's farm. This is from his soil, and what you're getting, I can taste a little bit of a farmy note. A kind of, I would describe it as a soil note a little bit. It has nice pepperiness to it.
And I do like, you do feel a bit of that French wine cast in there. But it has that touch to it. Like I'm amazed how much that you got into the malty note.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, it's single malt, so it should have a malty note. It should be there. And the way we distill really slow is to promote the flavours of the barley as well, is to promote that. What I would say is, you know, the barley is the flavour, the distillery then decides the style of spirit. So we have that light, elegant, fruity floral spirit because the way we distill, and then the cask matures and lends itself to micro-oxygenation. You know, so that's what it is. And again, it's dry, but it's chewable as well.
Yeah.
And it has a lovely little linger as well for me.
What I love about it is it transports good amounts of flavour. The 50% is not overwhelming. No. I would have expected a little bit harsher than this 50% what I have in my glass. So it's... And
on the back of each bottle then we have a terroir code that you can look up some information. And off the top of my head, I'd say this is probably around 3.5 to, you know, it's under 4 years old, this is. So our whiskey is, you know, not old, but punches above that, I think.
Under 4 years old.
Yeah.
Good. You feel that it's a fresh one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any problems with that.
No, I'm gonna go back.
And I love the French white note in there. I love it.
Yeah.
So the whole process, I've seen you've built your distillery kind of behind the maltings or the size of the maltings they can do. So how was that idea actually thought of? How would that anybody come up with that?
So I suppose it's brainchild of Mark Reynier, who was former CEO at Bruichladdich, and so he came to Ireland in a quest for the best barley in the world. And we believe the best barley in the world is the Irish barley, and we only buy Irish barley. But also in a quest for flavour for whiskey. So his idea was to keep each farm single, so that each farm then is a component or a stepping stone maybe to the cuvée, which is a mixture of the farms. It's the same as the wine concept. So you have the small wines and then you have the big wines, the Grand Vins as such. But each farm then, as you saw at the Cathedral, is kept separate. So the distillery works because we have the Cathedral that keeps the farm separate. And then we just keep it separate throughout the whole process until it gets to casks, and then it's stored separate as well.
Yeah, I think I've heard the word terroir is...
Terroir,
yeah. That is very prominent within Woodford. that is also used a lot within the wine. So it's a bit a hint from the wine.
No, it's more than a hint. It's totally from the wine.
Totally from the wine. Okay, it's not just a bit.
It's the wine concept.
But it works.
Yeah. So for us, it's about, you know, the barley, how it's grown, where it's grown, climate, topography, goes to the flavour of the barley.
I would have not expected it, to be honest. If I would have beforehand, I would have been one of the critics like, no, you can totally mix that up. But yeah, I've seen it. You're keeping a really clear record, and you have a lot of labels where everything is, and it's not mixing up. It's working.
No, and I suppose the reason that probably no one has been talking about it is because it's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to set up, but when it's set up properly, it's actually quite easy then to do it. But it costs a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time to make sure that it's done properly. And on the bottom of each bottle, we have embossed on it terroir, traceability, and transparency. Because to have true terroir, you have to have traceability and transparency. You have to be able to show people where it's coming from. So it's under the umbrella of provenance.
Okay.
So, you know, that's what it comes down to.
I do love the Provenance Map where we have this is where it comes from.
Yeah.
I do love it.
Yeah.
So the next one is, I have it here on my side.
Yeah.
Lakefield 1.1.
Lakefield, yeah. So
that's from, what was it?
Seamus Duggan, yes.
Duggan, yes.
So the first one, Tinnashrule, John Crowley's, is from Wexford, and Seamus Duggan is in County Laois.
Okay.
So Wexford is in the southeast, and Laois is in the Midlands. The Tinnashrule actually was a German exclusive release.
Okay.
And Lakefield is a worldwide release. So this is Lakefield 1.1. And again, you can see the colour is very light. I would say it's probably light straw or very light honey or, you know. And the oils then again on the glass are very good, very slow, and they just grip the glass. And that's what we're looking for, really slow tears or legs. That's a really good indication probably of a couple of things.
Small.
Yeah, a couple of things. It's, you know, it also is an indication of the strength of the alcohol in wine, that's the case. But in here as well, it also indicates how slow it'll coat your mouth and how oily it should be.
Oiliness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so straight away when I smell it, I'm smelling a flower bed.
This is a bit where the others were more cereal in maltiness.
Yeah.
This is a bit more, feels more like a bit more like a white bread, like a finer, finest cereal.
So this is more of a wholemeal brown bread rustic, where this is
I almost wanted to say wheat, but
no, but it
feels like wheat. There's no wheat in it.
No, but it reminds you a little bit of that, but definitely has that a flower bed note to that freshness to it as well.
Yeah, that's a bit strange to combine these two flavors, but
and there's a little bit of that real green grass in there as well.
It feels a little bit of a citrus note as well, but that doesn't match well with, I don't know, with the flowery one. Okay, maybe a citric, like a citric cake
but
or something.
you know, what we found in our terroir project is that there's a lot of components to barley. There's a lot of different components to barley. So our nose will only capture so many. Yeah. So you know what you might smell and I might smell are slightly different, but there is that orange marmalade kind of peel.
Yes, orange marmalade, but not one of these bitter ones.
No.
The lighter ones. But yes, you could go into orange. I would maybe say, maybe it's lemonade, maybe it's orange, or even something in between.
You know, the three peel marmalade. So you get lemon, lime, and orange in one marmalade.
I've never had that.
Yeah,
but it feels like a combination or something in between. It's hard to describe flavor.
But it's very, this nose as well is very inviting. It's very it's very elegant. This one is a little bit more Tinnashrule. It's a little bit more meaty, if that makes sense. It's a little bit more
bit more oomph to it.
A bit more robust, yes, yeah. Whereas this one is a bit more elegant on the nose. Again, 50% non-chill filters. So, sláinte.
Sláinte. The taste is not as light as I would have expected. No. It has much more volume to it than expected from the nose.
And what you'll find with a lot of our whiskies is, as you'll have a couple of experiences. The nose is one experience, the taste is something different. This kind of starts off gentle and then it comes in and packs a punch.
Yes, you have similarities to the nose. You have that orange, you have that lemon still in there. But the volume is much different from what you nose it.
It comes in and there's a kind of a peppery kind of not even a clove note, but it's kind of a five spice, a little gentle kind of five spice.
Yeah, there's a bit of spiciness in there. You don't have that in the nose at all.
No, and a little bit of maybe lemon sherbet. You know, lemon, but kind of lemon powder. You know the way in some sweets. Yeah.
Yes, the citrusy note is quite present here,
and very tingly.
Tingly, yeah.
Tingly, yeah. A little bit like popping candy kind of tingle, yeah.
You had me with the lemon powder. It's like I don't want to say it, but it feels like a little bit what was the kids have these powders.
The dip
things,
It
has a bit like that, not as hard.
Not as harsh, but a little bit of it, yeah.
Well, tingly, yeah. So my question, next question for me will be, okay, you had equipment here, but the process I was taking in from you and explaining it here all the way, it's quite difficult. If when the process is set up, yes, you keep it, but the setting up process, what was that? How long did you take? Was it hard?
Yes and no. So I suppose we were lucky with what Diageo had left here. So they left the full brew house. What they did do is they wiped all the software. So you saw the software earlier on, so that had to be rewritten.
Oh.
Okay, and also what we had to do then is we had to get stills, because the stills weren't here.
Yeah.
So Mark had some stills that he was able to get reconditioned by Forsyths. And I suppose we're a little bit different than we double distill. Some Irish distilleries would say that Irish whiskey is triple distill, but you can double or triple. We double distill. So the stills were probably the biggest thing to get. There was a lot of pipes that had to be taken out and fixed up. But we were a year and 4 days after the site was bought. We had our first trial spirit run. So yeah, very, very quickly, yeah. Okay,
and how was it to get into the process of single farm? When was the first single farm set up?
So the first single farm that came in January of 2016. After we did an initial trial in the end of December 2015, and we were very lucky, in everything that happened. In that, in the first year, we only had 4 hours downtime.
Wow.
So we laid down nearly 1 million litres of stock in the first year, which was unbelievable. And we took our time, and the one thing that we do here is there's no hurry. Everything is low and slow, as we like to say. So when we started, for us it was running in the stills and getting used to where we wanted to make our cut points and how much we wanted to charge the stills. We had a good understanding of the brewing, because it was, the same brew house that we'd used before. So once we kind of got that up and running, it was kind of focusing on how we distilled and where we met our cut points and that. So it took us a few farms to get in on that. But using the single farms is quite easy in the site here, because everything is, pushes through, and we clean after each farm.
Oh, so, you have to clean off.
So it just lends itself nicely to doing single farms. Yeah, it lends itself nicely to doing single farms. So I suppose the startup went very well for us. Yeah, we were very surprised, and I think the owners here were very surprised because they didn't anticipate that we were going to get a full year's production.
Okay.
So they were delighted when we laid down 6,500 casks in the first year. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good when you want to start up the distillery, because usually it's like, we have the first bottling, everything's sold out. And when you have a bigger lot, then it's just nice. Yeah. So the next one is the cuvée. So it has a different color of stopper then. Yeah.
So I suppose the single farms will have a yellow stopper, Vinlock, and the cuvée has a pink one. And the reason it's pink is to match the label. So the label was specially designed by an artist in Dublin called Leah Houston, and so she designed this especially for it. So the cuvée, I suppose, is the signature bottles that we will be doing going forward. We'll have one maybe every year or every year and a half, and it'll be a worldwide release. So what the cuvée is like wine, it's a combination. So this is actually a combination of 25 farms brought together. There's 156 casks in this, and I think the breakdown in this is 38% American first fill, 19% American new, 19% French, and if my maths are right, it should be 24% VDN. So each single farm or each cuvée will have a mixture of different casks as well.
Okay, so that is how many different farms is that in?
So 25 farms in this.
25 farms.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so this one then, the youngest whiskey in this is 4.5 years old, and the oldest is just over 5 years old. So.
Okay. So hard to say, but it's still it's still the single malt, because it's
it's still a single malt. Yeah, it's just
for you. It's more of a it's a cuvée blend from more farms.
And I suppose sometimes we have to be careful when we talk about blend, because it's not a blended whiskey.
Yeah, it's.
But what I would say it's a marriage of farms.
Marriage, yes.
Marriage of farms. Yeah, yes. Marriage of farms. So what I would say too is the single farms are stepping stone. They're a snapshot of the barley and the farm. What the cuvée is an expression of the distillery. It's the style, our style of spirit. But even on the nose now, for me, it's a lot more complicated. It's a lot more complex.
Yeah.
Because you have different levels, you have layers and Wilfoys there that will come together. Again, really excellent oils, and probably this one is a little bit darker than the single farms. So when I'm smelling it, it has a butteriness, richness to it.
Yes, a buttery note. Yeah, that's. I was thinking about it. What it was.
Yeah, and it has that buttery, and it also has.
Also a maltiness. The maltiness cannot be denied. It's just.
And I would say it nearly is. It reminds me of when you open the oven and there's bread cooking in the oven, crispy bread. Yeah, so it's the crispy bread on.
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah. Also, a little bit. Not quite sure if it's crispy bread or maybe it's crispy nut as well. A bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the nut. Yeah.
Yeah, some people put nuts in their bread.
Yeah. Maybe slightly almond.
Yeah.
Slightly almond.
Something like that. Roasted almond.
And on the nose as well, for me, there's a little bit of that clove sweets. I don't know if you're familiar. They're a hard sweet that has red and white sweet. Maybe you don't get them in Germany.
I don't know that. I know cloves, but I don't know the sweets of that.
Yeah, so it's a sweet that we would get here that just reminds me that sometimes whiskey is a memory rather than a taste.
When you nose a whiskey, you have so many associations, and you think, where have I tried that? Where have I smelled that?
Yeah, and or it can be music or colours, but unfortunately, we always talk about food because that's the way we're able to get it across.
It's 90% food, and the rest of the 10% is beverages.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of brown sugar there as well.
It feels a little bit more mature though.
Yeah. And it is a little bit more mature, but it also, it's an inviting nose where you go back and you're kind of going, I'm getting something slightly different now again. Because there is a little bit of that red fruit, even blackberries, you know.
There's a bit of a fruity note. The thing is, here is a bit more different stuff crammed into one whiskey. The other ones had a distinctive style in one direction. This one is more spread out. Which
it should be, because it's, you know, a combination, Sláinte.
Sláinte. These really nose different to taste.
And that is the thing. Like, it is, like I said before, it's two experiences. You know, you're kind of going, okay, where did this come from? You know, I wasn't expecting.
It's dry. It has some wine notes, some grape notes in it.
It's dry but chewable. It's a strange.
But also, one similarity to the nose is the maturity, I would say.
Yes, and even you know, the length on it is very, very good. There's a lovely kind of watery note coming there now. Even though it is dry, it's starting to water a little bit for me. And it just has a really nice, if you're to look at it like a note or music, it's a bit like that. It flows along, it's a lovely wave.
Yeah, the finish is holding out. It's still holding out. I love the finish on that one.
Just some, it reminds me of just some, there's a bit of greenness in the front. Even when I go back to smell it, there's a little bit of green foliage that kind of comes through. There's a lovely white pepper note that just holds there at the start as well, for me. And it's real. The finish is it's not a finish. It just keeps going. And actually a lovely vegetable note there as well now.
It's nice. It's holding out, and again with this one especially, it's very nice for a 50% one.
Yes,
it's. I would even say a little bit beginner friendly. Okay, the grapey notes is maybe a bit overwhelming, but for people who like wine, I would say that is a nice entry into whiskey. So this is a lot different to other distilleries. And how is the whiskey perceived worldwide? What feedback did you get?
Yeah, I suppose social media and everything was very mixed at the start. When you know, we talk about terroir, it's kind of seen as a concept that's not accepted, or wasn't accepted. It seems to be a bit more accepted now. I suppose what we can go on is you know, our first bottles that we released, you know, should have lasted probably 6 or 9 months, and they were sold out in 20 hours or something like that. Like, you know, so they sold out really, really quickly. I think people are open to the idea, and people are open to the conversation. It's also bringing probably new people into the whiskey world.
Did you have like a lot of people who associated with wine and come from the wine scene?
Yes, a little bit, I suppose. But there's also the whiskey people who are interested, and I suppose what we're seeing is a lot of younger whiskey drinkers, and a lot of female drinkers as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of female drinkers, and who are interested in, and it's maybe down to the concept, or even people who are gastronomes or food people who want to know where their food is coming from, want to know where their produce is coming from, as well, and that, you know, we sit in perfectly in that as well. So we can cross a lot of different areas. You know, some people won't care where it comes from. They'll want to know about the taste and And a lot of people are actually very interested in the design of the bottle and the colour of the bottle. And,
Okay.
and, you know, so we're capturing a lot of different things. And then, of course, there's people who don't like it at all.
Yeah,
You know,
there's always these people. And the thing is,
and
they have all those.
everyone's entitled to their opinion. The other thing is the people who are looking for consistency, and we won't have consistent product. We will have a very good product.
No consistency.
But we won't have a consistent bottle of whiskey. You're not going to get the same whiskey every time, like, you know.
You really don't have a core range, do you?
Well, the cuvee will be the core range as such. But as I said, what we're doing is we're trying to promote the barley. We're trying to give the barley its best chance into whiskey. So it's whatever the barley says, that's the flavour, and that's what we work with, like, you know.
So, and also I've seen you have a lot of organic, biodynamic, and what I really find cool is the heritage. So what is it perceived in that kind of, there's a scene growing up with people who only go with heritage vegetables and stuff? Yeah, I suppose
what we were looking for is a quest for different flavours. You know, so we say the conventional barley is one aspect, and we have our Arcadian series then, which covers organic, biodynamic and heritage. And it's to look for different flavours. So one of the things that we found is the barleys that we use in modern varieties for distilling are closely related. They're bred for yield for the farmer and for the distillery or the brewery. They're not bred for flavour. So what we just decided to do was look back at old varieties. So that's where the Heritage Project started a number of years ago. So the first one we'll be bringing out at the end of the year is Hunter, which was around 1956. Then we did Gold Top, which was around 1901. Old Irish, which was pre-1900. So those are the heritage varieties, and they're very different. Organic then and biodynamic are just different philosophies in farming, and the flavours are very different, because with the likes of organic, you're not using artificial fertilizers or sprays, and with biodynamic then you're farming with the cycles of the earth and the moon. You're using some preparations that are part of their philosophy for fertilizer and for sprays as well, in terms of natural sprays. Like they will get silica and bury it in cow horn, and they'll take it up and they'll spray it, and that was an old way of keeping flies and that off flowers and plants, and that's what the biodynamic farmers do.
Okay, I think there's probably a market for people who say, I'm really into biodynamic.
But the funny thing about it is probably 8 of the top 10 wines in the world are grown biodynamically. They just don't talk about it because it's part of the wine, the way they do their grow their grapes. Is it part
of their heritage?
Yeah, it's part of their heritage. It's part of that.
So they've always been done.
They've always done it like that.
The thing is, if you go with heritage, I would say if you go back to the very, very roots of Irish distilling, then I think everything was heritage back in the day.
You know, biodynamic, organic, and heritage are just terms for old farming.
Yeah.
You know.
Back in the days, they couldn't do what we do today.
No. So everybody
did.
You know, where did fertilizer come from? You know,
modern.
Yeah, it's very modern, and you know, it's big. You know, it was used to get more food for and all that. Like, but prior to that, it was dung and whatever. Like, you know, so yeah.
Okay, so the last one that we have is gonna be
the organic.
The organic
2.1. Yeah. So this one has a blue vinlock. The biodynamic will have a green vinlock, and I'm not sure what the heritage one is going to have.
I think on the Provenance Map it was kind of similar to what we have with maybe a bit darker. Or something like purple in that direction.
Something like that. Yeah. So this is the organic, and this actually, when we started, we didn't have single farm organics. So in this, there's 6 different farmers. But in the last few years, the farms have grown to supply single organic farms, single batches. So we have a number of farmers now who are supplying us 75 tons of malt barley. And when we started, we had to get 6 farmers together
to get one of these.
To do it, yeah.
So you are really boosting the organic farming in Ireland?
Yeah, we're giving them, I suppose, a market, and also the organic farmers and the biodynamic farmers, by doing it year on year, you know, hone it a little bit more. So when we did start with the biodynamic, the 3 farmers that come together for biodynamic, I think it gave us something like 46 tons. This year they had 75 tons, just because they're you know, they're honed, because they hadn't been growing barley commercially, I suppose, as such, whereas they've done it for a few years now. So when I smell this, it just reminds me of a field. It is a dry soil note to it.
This one, I do get the soil note that you have from, I think we had it, you mentioned it in the first one. This time I do get it.
Yeah.
That has a bit of a grassy, earthy touch to it. It's
compared to some of the others, it's a fresher, fresher, more vibrant one as well. I think if we go back to the first one, Tinnashrule.
It's more like the Tinnashrule, but I would even say a bit more into the earthy tone, where this one was more into the what you said, coarse bread, not rye bread, but like a bit of a farmer's bread.
Yeah, it's brown bread, as we
brown bread. Yeah,
we would, you know, we'd have brown bread here, and you know, and that.
And this one is more of a earthy tone to it. The delivery has also a bit of a floral notes to it.
Yeah.
It's really down to earth.
It is down to earth, and it reminds me a little bit, you know, when you're in the forest, and sometimes when it rains, and you have that smell from the forest with some of that green foliage that has rained a little bit. It just reminds me of that a little bit there now.
I like it.
I'm going to say a little bit of salt, a little bit of salinity on the nose.
Waterford is near the ocean, right? But But where is that coming from?
So this is a mixture of 6 farms around the Midlands. But,
Midlands. Okay.
But actually, the salinity will come from
something else.
The minerality in the ground. Yeah, it'll come from the soil. So you know, you'll get some of that from the soil. Franche?
This is a bit more attacking than
this
is a bit more.
This is very not aggressive, but very
compared to the others. I would say aggressive, but it still feels like you have the distillery's character still in there as a.
But it's very much more kind of in your face nearly. It's there,
but with fruitiness and with floralness.
There's
the earthiness. Maybe in the finish, you can talk about that, but it's not as prominent as in the nose.
No, and when you do taste it, it starts off with the fruitiness, Nelly. Then there's a bit of an oomph, kind of a spice bomb goes off for a second. There's some aniseed there. Very chewy, very robust, very.
The second one, it's adding up with the spiciness on the second sip.
Yeah.
No, but I like it. It's totally different to the others. This is far away from the others, I would say.
Yeah.
So totally far away from the lake field.
From the lake field, the lake field is they're probably vibrant, chalk and cheese,
and nice and flowery and even like a little bit of wheat flavor in there. And here's this heavy and robust on the. What is it? Oh, I like it.
And it is very soily on the finish. It's very, it's very rich, very earthy,
and also the finish is long.
Yeah.
So there's one thing. We have an article up on. Let's do this one. written more clearly on that. We have an article on our website, like, what's the difference between whiskey and whiskey? And with all the story about how the whiskey was in Ireland with the column still and everything. And so now every whiskey in Ireland is spelled whiskey, and everything that's heritage to Ireland is whiskey, and you spell it without E. Why do you do that?
Because we can, I suppose. So in Ireland, the technical file says you can spell whiskey with or without an E.
Okay.
And you can double or triple distill.
Yes.
So we double distill, and we chose not to use E in the whiskey. And there's a few different reasons. Is because I suppose the whiskey was the marketing term probably to separate from Scotch and that.
Yes.
But the old way of spelling it would have had no E.
Yes, before the whole 1830.
Yeah. So we're probably, and what we're doing is probably looking at the older way of doing things as well, like keeping the farm separate, doing single farms, heritage grains, biodynamics, organics. But also it's probably a little play on the fact that we don't use caramel, which is E150A. Little bit of a play on that as well. And it's probably to stand out from the Irish whiskey as such.
Okay, so because you are a bit different to the Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're, okay.
Yeah, it's slightly different, I suppose. The fact that we are only using Irish barley. We chose to do that. It takes a lot of money, in fairness, to do that. I'm not saying other distilleries are right or wrong, but it's just something a little bit different for us, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, because I find it really, really funny. In America, you have all the whiskey, and there are also some distilleries that have a whiskey. It's just, in the end, it's just no matter how you want to spell it.
Yeah, and we got a good bit of flack for not having an E in our whiskey.
Really?
Yeah, we did. Yes, we've had people message us telling us we've spelt it wrong, and it's outside the building. We have without the E, and we have people commenting in saying, oh, you'd want to get that checked, and whoever did that sign is don't pay him. But you know what it is though? It's a way of we have an article up as well to E or not to E, and so it's a way of just saying, yeah, listen, here's the information and have a read of it. And it's just like at the end of the day, like we're not going to say, oh, you're wrong. It's just here's a bit of information that'll educate you on this, and if you want to read it, great, and if you don't, we're not wrong.
We're also without the E.
Without the E,
we're not the E ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so very nice overview. Thank you very much for the tasting and all the information. Thank you very much for having us here at the distillery.
Okay. I suppose the other thing is that's just a snapshot of some of our whiskies.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching. Go out there, find these Waterford whiskies. If you've for some reason found the ones that we have, you might as well now see how they are. But they are really, 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 really different. Yeah. So and if you ever come to the south coast of Ireland, then give this place a go. It's really nice to see. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.